Okay, welcome back. So far we've been looking at how to navigate around in different directories and create new ones. Now we're going to talk about once you've arrived in your destination directory, how do you create a file? So we're logged into the Corn system, and I'd like to move into the CME 211 assignment 1 directory. So I'm going to use the cd command. I'm going to type the uppercase C, and then I like tab completion because it saves me typing. So I use that, and now I'm in the assignment 1 directory. And we're just going to first make a simple little text file to demonstrate how to use one of the editors that's available on Linux. So the first editor we're going to use is something called Picot. So I'm going to type the Picot command, and then a space, and I'm going to give it the name of the file that I'd like to create. So I'm just going to create a simple little file here. The name of the file is hello.txt, and the txt is just an extension that indicates that this is a text file or a file that contains information encoded as text. I press enter, and now my screen changes, and there's a little text-based menu interface here. And at this point I can start typing, and I'm going to type a hello greeting. And once I've created the contents of my file, I have a couple options here. The most basic ones are here down in the menu, and you can refer to those for most of your typical operations. And the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to write this out and save it to a file. So if you're wondering about the notation here, I want to write out a file, and what the little character here is telling me is that I should press the control key, so that's the little caret character, and at the same time then press the O. It doesn't actually have to be uppercase, it can be lowercase as well. It's going to prompt me for the name of the file to write, and it's auto-filled in with the name I provided when I started the editor. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that and press enter. It will tell me I wrote one line. At this point I could go ahead and add additional text to my file and go ahead and save it again. Now I've written out those additional lines, and then once I'm done creating the contents of my file and I'm ready to exit the editor, you'll see in the lower left corner it's exit, so I do Control X, and now it's brought me back to that Linux shell command prompt. And recall that if I want to see the contents of my directory, I use the ls command, so I do ls, and you'll see there's now an entry here, hello.txt. Remember that I could repeat that with the -L. That gives me the long format listing, and this is something now a little bit new. Before, we've always seen that in the first column there was a D there indicating it was a directory. Now we see that that's a dash, and that's an indication that this is a regular file. It's not a directory. If you're curious about the other information, the RW here is an indication that your user has read and write privileges for this file. So you can both read it, see the contents. You can also make modifications to it. You can write to that file. If you wanted to look at this file again, one option is to start the editor again and provide the name of the file. You'll see it starts up, and now instead of being an empty file, you see the contents that we typed up the previous time, and you could type additional information and either go ahead and save it, or you could choose not to, at which point you would lose those changes. The other thing is, if you want to just quickly look at that without starting up the editor, you can see the contents of that file with the cat command, which is short for concatenate. So cat hello.txt tells the shell that you'd like to concatenate or display the contents of that file to your screen. So here we see the contents that were actually saved, my hello and goodbye messages. For longer files, that would be inconvenient because everything would scroll past your screen. So you can also use the related more command, which in this case isn't a huge difference, but it allows you to move through the file page by page if it's more lines than are present on your terminal.